Hey everyone, it's Gamefruitpulp, and welcome back to another Minecraft video. In today's video, I'm going to showcase the submissions for my Minecraft Winter Building Competition. If you're excited to check out these awesome builds, be sure to hit that like button. This time around, we didn't have as many participants in the competition, with only 2 submissions from SolGuardian and Jinwua, which makes sense given the time of year that the competition is taking place. That being said, both of the submissions are excellent, so I'm so excited to be showcasing them with you all today. Now, before we start showcasing the 2 submissions, let me remind you about the theme and the scoring for the competition itself. The building competition's theme was Winter Village, and the scoring matrix was the same as in past competitions. Up to 50 points awarded for building style, up to 20 points for building creativity, and up to 30 points for theme capturing. I'm going to be the only judge for this competition, so if you disagree with how I rank the 2 builds, be sure to roast me in the comments. Now, this video's ranking will definitely be the most controversial that I've done on the channel because, for the first time ever, we actually have a tie. Both participants, Jinwua and SolGuardian, scored 93 out of 100 points, with both scoring a perfect 20 out of 20 for building creativity. They created very different, unique builds that both fit well within the theme. We're going to start by showcasing Jinwua's submission. Jinwua created a full document explaining their build and submitted it on Planet Minecraft, which I will link in the description of the video. Be sure to check out their page for the project and give it some love. Jinwua named their building Arctic Outpost 129 Blue Station. While I showcase the build, let me go through the document with all of you that was provided by Jinwua, starting first with the local lore. Far in the northern reaches of the Arctic Circle is the Village 129 Outpost, aka Blue Station. It is set up as a communication and research transfer outpost. This is a key location for connecting people and goods to the rest of civilization and further outposts up north. Looking now at the information about the architecture of the submission, we have the following information. Due to the harsh northern winds and low latitude trajectory that the sun rises and falls in, the buildings in Outpost 129 have steep sloped roofs on the northern side and large windows on the south to take in as much sunlight as possible. The blue accent on the buildings gives the outpost its nickname, Blue Station. Now, when we look at Jinwua's building, we see a bunch of different structures, and they were kind enough to break down the information behind the most important ones within the creation, starting with the Citadel. A majority of the permanent residents in the outpost work in the Citadel. They maintain communications, keep watch and forecast weather, and help in transferring researchers to further outposts up north. At the center of the Citadel is a large Christmas tree used as an antenna for long-distance communications. Now, an outpost like this would have some children that live there as well, so of course you would need to have a school. This is where the children of the permanent residents go to school. Ranging from K to grade 12, the school has 3 different classrooms with mixed classes. Thinking similarly to the school, an outpost like this would also need a medical center. So a small medical center with 3 ICU beds, 1 room for surgeries, and 1 room with 3 urgent care beds exists on the map. The outpost features a church dedicated to Saint Anthony of Padua, the saint of lost items and souls. Due to the crucial location of the village outpost, many people who were lost in the Arctic or in poor condition passed through the village on their way back to civilization. To keep the outpost up and running, there are 3 power stations around the village, with 2 being critical to run all the facilities in the outpost, and the 3rd as an emergency backup. Power station number 3 also serves as the server room for the Citadel. So those are the critical buildings within the outpost. But there are other components that Jinwua mentioned that would be essential to a lively outpost. Since the water surrounding the dock freezes over during the summer months, most of the critical supplies are brought in via plane throughout the year, but the majority of supplies are brought during the summer months by ship. The wall was constructed after a series of guerrilla attacks by bands of snowmen. The goal of the snowmen attacks was never clear, but some suspect the frequencies coming off of the communication towers were a source of interest to them. Now, I already mentioned that Jinwua and Newfoundland tied in this competition, but their scores were slightly different. Jinwua scored 46 points for building, and then a perfect 20 points for creativity, and 27 points for theme capturing. All in all, and this should come to no surprise to anyone who has followed my channel for a while, Jinwua has once again created an interesting, detailed, and thoughtful build. Thanks as always to Jinwua for the submission. Moving now to the other build submitted for the competition by SolGuardian, this was a great building that was built on the Ineasycraft server in the Belcappy plot world. In the plot world, anybody can claim an area and build whatever they would like with the help of World Edit. Although this submission is not as large as the one built by Jinwua, every component of the submission is built for a purpose and ties directly into the theme that SolGuardian chose to use for this competition, which was the 12 Days of Christmas. To fully understand the submission, we need to keep in mind the 12 days of Christmas and relate it back to what we are looking at. Starting right in the middle of the submission, where we find the first day of Christmas, a partridge in a pear tree, which SolGuardian recreated with the use of sea cucumbers and the head of a pigeon. The creativity of this submission is really off the charts, and you can see it as we continue throughout the rest of the 12 days. For the second day of Christmas, 2 turtle doves, we make our way into a church on the submission. Now, this is a very thoughtful choice, where inside the church we find 2 turtle dove heads together. Some say that the 2 turtle doves represent the Old and New Testaments of the Bible, which makes it fitting that we find it inside a church. For the third day of Christmas, we go to a well-decorated house that includes a chicken farm in the back, which of course represents the 3 French hens. We move beside the house for the fourth day, which is a unique choice to represent 4 calling birds. Here we find 4 trees and noise created by skulk block to represent the calling of those birds. We move all the way to the other side of the submission for the 5th day, and this is one of my favorite representations of all the days because it takes a traditional thing and makes a modern twist with it, with the 5 gold rings being used to represent the Olympic rings and some sort of skiing event that has taken place. On the 6th day, 6 geese and laying were represented by the coop with 6 sets of eggs, a more straightforward interpretation than we saw on the 5th day. Now moving on to the 7th day, we see sole focus on the spiritual side of this day, with the 7th day being 7 swans of swimming, which is meant to represent the 7 gifts of the Holy Spirit, and under the tree we find 7 gift boxes representing those 7 gifts. Day 8 is 8 maids of milking, which is represented by 8 cows in the barn. I really like the wreaths outside this barn, they were a nice touch that captured the Christmas theme. For the 9th day, we once again look at the spiritual side of the 12 days, where 9 ladies dancing, believed to be about the 9 fruits of the Holy Spirit, which is what we find on the submission at a monument next to the church listing those fruits. As we move on to the 10th day, we find my absolute favorite of the 12 days made by Sol, 10 Lords of Leaping. To find this representation, we go inside the largest structure on the submission, where we find 10 frogs leaping, which is just a hilarious way to capture the leaping of day 10. The final 2 days are found together on the submission, which makes sense considering that they are 11 pipers piping and 12 drummers drumming. I really like how SolGuardian finishes off these 12 days with this orchestra scene. My only critique here is I would have loved a jukebox playing some music or some sort of musical factor, but that's a really small critique. SolGuardian scored lower in the building category with Jinwua simply because there were fewer things built, scoring 43 out of 50 possible points, but scored a perfect 20 out of 20 for creativity and 30 out of 30 for theme capturing. I cannot think of a single way that he could have better captured what I was looking for in this competition than what he built here. So everyone's least favorite result, a tie. But I think that you all agree that both of these submissions were well thought out and fit the theme of the competition really well. There wasn't much interest in this competition this time around, so I'm not sure when I will be doing the next one, but if you did enjoy, be sure to let me know in the comments so that I can keep that in mind going forward. Thanks to Jinwua and SolGuardian for the great submissions. If you're new to the channel and you enjoyed, be sure to hit that subscribe button to catch future content out on the channel. If you're a returning viewer and you enjoyed, be sure to hit that like button and comment who you think should have won the competition. Thank you all for taking the time to watch. I hope that you enjoyed it. My name is Gamefruitpulp, and this has been a Minecraft building competition video. Have a good one.